August 28th, E equals MC squared. All rise! The bailiff announcement. All rise! Department 2 of the Superior Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Docket Brief is now in session. The judge came in and sat behind the bench. Please be seated. Brief. A genial older man with thinning forest green hair and square glasses shuffled papers on his bench top before looking at everyone. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I will admit, adoption is said to be a very commonplace thing. Easy as pie, procedurally speaking. He then took off his glasses and gave everyone a helpless stare. But I have never, before in my judicial career, processed an adoption for a girl that technically does not exist, much less one getting international attention. He looked at Keynes. Counselor, would you please clear this up for me? Keynes couldn't help but be impish. Your Honor, it all apparently started today when a magical unicorn came through a portal located at Central High School. Her further speech was cut off by the sudden laughter from the witness stands. Brief himself chuckled. That answer actually seems plausible than everything I've read here, he said with a smile. In any case, I looked over the documentation, and as I understand it, the subject of the partition never got a birth certificate due to her circumstances. Keynes looked at the documentation she had prepared on her table. She obviously knew the truth, and ironically, it just told him so. But she had to act her part. Besides, as a lawyer, she knew any good lie had to have a grain of truth in it. Yes, sir. The FBI is currently looking into the case. While I'm not privy to details due to conflict of interest, my general understanding is that all the evidence was correct. 17 years ago, a young girl was stolen from her parents, and was undetected because of the unfortunate stillbirth of her fellow triplet. The surviving unabducted sister was believed to be the only one, and for years this persisted. Seated at the petitioner's table, Sunset looked at Keynes, then the judge, and couldn't help but feel a little lost. She knew this was a tale being spun for her sake, yet it was plausible and believable, and she felt bad for deceiving the judge. Yet a lie had to be a legal truth in order for her to exist in this world. Brief looked at his bailiff. Where is the situation regarding that? I was able to inquire, Your Honor. There is a warrant out for Miss Faustus. That's good to know. Meanwhile, we can correct at least one wrong here immediately. I am directing the California Department of Social Services to promptly issue a birth certificate for the subject individual, backdated with all the relevant information copied from her sister. I am additionally directing the state to make relevant corrections to the sister's birth certificate as well. Additionally, the state must notify the Social Security Administration so that the relevant Social Security numbers can be issued and or adjusted as required. He looked at Sunset. Welcome to the world of legally living, Miss Shimmer. He then looked at Keynes. Now, as for the other portion, I understand that the birth mother has recently found out about the existence of her daughter. Your Honor, I call her Imperial Highness, Princess Claire Berenice Paget Traz Nates de Martinique de Celestia of the House of Bonaparte to the stand. Solaire walked up. Brief began, unsure where to go with that mouthful. Mrs. de Celestia would suffice, Your Honor, Solaire told him. I was married to an American man and hold American legal resident status. See. Well then, Miss Celestia, would you be kind to explain? I would be delighted to. Solaire then went on her practice statement, explaining how she felt upon encountering Sunset, filling in the details from both the old timeline and the new, leaving them smoothly so that it would work. He then explained her shock and joy at Sunset being alive, tempered by the sorrow of losing her once again in a sense. I see, thank you. But I must ask, you do not have a problem with the petition going through? No. So I looked at Namesville and said, in the past month, I have grown to know them as they are wonderful people, and I will not do that to loving parents, nor to my own child. As difficult as the decision is, fate has already made its move, and I will not be the monster that compounded the issue. He then looked at Knight Velvet. Do you feel the same way? Your Honor, we love her, Velvet said, simply and honestly. Since the day she came into our lives, she's been a special part of it, both the ups and downs, and I wouldn't want to change a single thing. I completely agree, Knight said. I've had a unique time raising several other girls, and Sunset is no less special. She came to us in need, and we've grown to love her and take her in as part of our family. I wouldn't want it any other way. Finally, the judge looked at Sunset. Miss Simmer, do you wish to say anything? Sunset looked at the judge, then stood up. I'm not sure what to say, Your Honor. I am blessed with so much. Friends, family, a life when I had nothing a few years ago. Maybe if I had not tried to go out on my own for so long, things could have been easier for me. But that was what I was taught by my guardian, by Miss Faustus, and I don't hate her. I can't hate her. She made me what I am today. I'll let her be, because no one like that exists, Sunset thought bitterly, so she kept that part to herself. All I can say is that I'm lucky enough to have what I have now, and I don't want to lose it. I don't want to lose them. I love my family, and I want to be with them. Brief looked at her smile. Well now, I don't think I can say no to an earnest response like that. Let it be known that on this date, the state of California grants the formal petition of Nightlight and Twilight Village to adopt Sunset Simmer. He smiled. Congratulations to the happy family. Sunset's heart stopped. At long last, the words she longed to hear had occurred. She now truly had a mother and father. She broke down in tears of joy, fiercely hugged both her mom and dad, then Keaton's, and then barely mouthed out a thank you to the judge. But no sound came, because she was too overcome. Sylvan, however, did it for her. Thank you, Doc, she said solemnly, tears running down her cheeks. Brief himself felt a bit misty-eyed. For all the good you've done with children, you've earned this, Val, he told her. Well, I'm glad you ended up in my court. I doubt even the judge didn't know you'd find you to be a wonderful mother, and husband, an excellent father. A massive squeak sounded from the witness stand as over a dozen girls rushed over to hug Sunset, cheering her good fortune, and crying along with her, bouncing in happiness, and generally causing disorder in the court. So I call for order, Your Honor, the bailiff asked. Brief leaned against his hand on the bench, while he the 13 teenage girls involved themselves in a massive huggle ball. No, I rather think, given everything she's been through, she's entitled to a little disorder, don't you think? Brief said with a smile. My heart! A couple of hours later, the reception was held at Sunset's home, and to say the house was swimming in teenagers was an understatement. Friends both close and extended all came to wish Sunset well, so he had time to talk to many of her friends. Even Pinky and Rose, who were still at each other's throats over Sunset's affections, called a temporary truce so that Sunset could spend the day with others. I'm so happy for you, Rarity said. All the waterworks at Tarma, her massive care was hearing. She hugged Sunset warmly, congratulating her dearest friend for something that was long overdue. Thank you, Rares, Sunset said, knowing her friend's drama mode was well-intentioned, even though it was the usual Rarity being Rarity. Looks like you hit the big time, huh? Applejack said, clapping her friend on the shoulder. I knew you deserved this, Sucre. Thanks, Sunset said, blushing. As for the rest of her friends, they all came by and offered their congratulations, as well more well wishes, and Sunset took it in stride. Yes, she was now an official princess. The press concert Solaire had yesterday confirmed it. No, she didn't think it mattered much. No, surprisingly she did not want to forget Miss Faustus, despite Sunset knowing what the woman had raised her had done was wrong. Sunset couldn't find it in her heart to hate her. Kind of hard to hate someone that doesn't really exist, she added, so she kept that last part to herself. No, she wasn't moving to France. Yes, she and her family probably would accept Solaire's offer to head to Paris for Christmas this year, so Sunset could meet her extended birth family. No, she really didn't have an opinion of what it was like to be raised American, and suddenly found out she was both French and American. Yes, when she went, she would spy on several chocolatiers for Bonbon. For once, Sunset felt like she did in the old days, when she forced the whole Caroline High to be the center of the attention. But this time was different. This time, she was the focus because her friends wanted her to be. And it was nothing she had done. If anything, the fact that she tried for so long to not be the center had caused this. In the end, it didn't matter whether people knew the truth of the matter or not, Sunset decided. She had a family that she loved and loved her back. That was a start, and a jumping point, that she could happily appreciate. Tomorrow would bring new challenges and adventures. But for now, she could just bask in the life of a normal teenage girl and not worry about the world. It could sort itself out. Seated a slight distance away, Compass Rose looked at Shimmer. So, You'll leave tomorrow? Rose asked. Shira nodded. I really don't want to be honest. These past months, it's been like a dream. And not just because I finally found my sister. It's been a learning situation for me, but also been somewhat of an ordeal. And well, I have my life to get back to, Rose. I'm sorry about that, Rose told her. I'm sorry I couldn't have been there for you when you needed me. I know you were just little kids, but you're my friend and I didn't do enough for you. Sarah gave her a smile. You did as much as you could. We were children, remember? Not as worldly as we are now. Not even as worldly as children that are the same age were back then as now. Rose died. Oh, I have something for you, she said, digging into her purse. I always meant to give this back to you, but for some reason I can't forget to give it to Sonny. Maybe it was my subconscious mind saying something not really sure. In case I know this belonged to you. Rose withdrew a small plush dog and handed it to Simmer. You lent this to me on a day I wasn't feeling so good, and now it's time for you to go home. Simmer took the plushie, holding it close to her, memories coming back to her. Look, she said softly, touched by her friend's gesture. And even though you're returning to France, I want to keep in touch, Rose insisted. You were my friend before your sister became my love interest, and I don't want either to go by the wayside. Rose, study straight. I know how you feel about her, but don't push yourself onto her, Simmer cautioned. Even though she's remaining here, it doesn't mean that we'll be out of each other's lives. So I know about it if you do, and I'll consider myself protective of her now, even though she really doesn't need me to do that. Regardless, I would love to keep in touch. Well, Rose said with a gleam in her eye, if I play my cards right, you might be my future sister-in-law. Silver couldn't help but giggle at that. Piggy found Raspberry sitting by herself on the far edge of the property. Piggy had wanted to take a walk to herself, given that she was going to keep her self-imposed promise to let her love be today. But given the foreign look on her friend's face, she felt she had to intervene. Yes, you can? She asked. Yeah, Raspberry said softly. It's just, okay, seeing Sunset get exactly what she wanted made me homesick all the more. I know I'm going home. Now it's a matter of when instead of if. It's just, I don't know how long I've been gone, or what's going on. The last letter I sent to Equestria this morning hints there's some sort of time dilation going on. So while for me it's only been a couple of weeks here, it might have been months or years away from home. And I don't know what's changed. Yeah, none of your time will do that, Piggy said sadly. None of your time? It's a reference to the novel series that has time dilation as one of the principles going on between this one and the other, Piggy explained. Granted, it really sets a plot device that allowed the offer to be as allegorical as you want it to be, but nowadays people see it as an early example of metaphysical and fancy science fiction. Raspberry looked at her. You know, sometimes I forget you're smarter than your counterpart. I mean, no offense, Piggy's sweet nature and one of my dearest friends, but she's not as complex as you are. Well, I've been told I'm not the average sorry Pinky, she said with a wink. So what's next for you? We go back to school next week. You planning to join us? Raspberry shook her head. No, I'll be working downstairs and trying to strengthen the connection so I can go home. It's probably for the best I don't involve myself with human affairs any longer anyway. I just started to get adjusted to this place, and I really don't want to run into something that'll make me change my mind again. Well, I'm sure that Sunny will be able to get you home. You're important to her. And besides, I suggest you'll be carrying an important message for her. Yeah, don't worry. I haven't forgotten about that jerk, Raspberry said, thinking about the crystal currently in secure storage that held an unconscious miniature to find right. He'll be headed straight to Tartarus as soon as I get home. That's great, but I'm not talking about that. Oh, the Triple's petition to restart Siren's power requesting military? Yeah, Piggy looked at Raspberry, eyeball to eyeball. Yes, you know what I mean. I'm not honestly sure, Pinky. Remember, I'm not human. I don't have the human mindset, so I can't think exactly like you do. Well, you love your adopted parents, right? They're the biggest reason I want to go home, Raspberry admitted. Even without my friends and duties, if it wasn't for them, I'd still be alone in this world, Healy aside. They love me and I love them, and I want to see my parents. But I also suspect you love your birthright too, right? I know you told me about how your father mistreated you and abused you and what you were forced to do to survive, but
Yeah, I didn't hear any condemnation for your birth mother. Which means you must love her enough you don't want to talk about her, because you're afraid to conflict your love for her with your hatred of your father, right?
Raspberry looked at the other girl before her, and was reminded once again why the two Pinkies were so different. While they were at the heart the same, her poly friend back home was more innocent and hyper. This one was the latter, but the slings and arrows of human experience had given her a far different way to look at the world. An analytical mind that Raspberry had usually equated with Twilight was now on full display.
I seen that in Sunny too. She loves and misses her birth mom, but doesn't really know how to reconcile with the adopted parents she has now. She's afraid that even mentioning her will lose that connection, even though I'm sure that Mrs. Belvin and Mr. Light told her that isn't the case. But Sunny deep down is emotionally fragile. It doesn't take well to being hurt like that. I love her more than anything, and I want to make sure she never feels that pain. Because I have a love-hate relationship with my own mom, and I'm always afraid that I will color my interactions with my father and siblings. It doesn't, nor will Auntie Cup and Uncle Carrot let that happen. But I can see how Sunny would be afraid of losing the mother she had because of the parents she has now. It's a silly thought, but, well, we're only human after all. See, but that's so square with Sunny. Because I'll know she write a letter to her mother, asking to come home. To let her know despite everything, Sunny still loves her birth mother. I want to make sure that letter gets there. Because I love Sunny and want the best for her. Even if we take a long time to end up with each other, and boy, is that going to be a real wait, I still want what's best for her.
Raspberry didn't take time to connect with that Pinky. The Sunset was not the full daughter of the princess. You're probably right about that letter.
I know I am.
Sunset looked at the delicacy before her. A cake that had been made not by Sugar Cube Corner Cafe, but Saigon Sweets.
It's not anything we normally do,
Baba told her.
but for you, it was worth it.
It looks heavenly, Octavia said with appreciation.
Yes, but I'm not planning to do this regularly,
The chocolatier insisted.
I would hate to run a competition with Sugar Car Cafe directly. Besides, my confessionary is not a cafe. I'm certain that Pinky's family appreciates that.
I'm sure I appreciate that, Lara insisted. If Bonnie's family made cakes too, then I'd never lose any weight. It was now late afternoon, and all of her extended circle of friends had gone home, and Sunset and Raspberry, accompanied by the majestic 12, Simmer, and the rest of the folks had now crowded down into Siren Lair. The reason was, hopefully, to see Raspberry off to Equestria. At the moment, the portal flickered with iridescent energies. It looked as if it was a calm, but that would be easily deceptive. Dragonfire Candle was warping and wavering, going from calm at one moment to raging fire the next. Are you sure you want to do this, Ras? Sunset asked her. I'm not entirely sure it's safe.
Sonny, I want to go home,
Raspberry told her.
Besides, you know me. I'm made of stern stuff, okay? If I can survive werewolf bites and having my throat slashed, I'm pretty positive I could outlast this. You had your throat slashed?
Flashlight gasped, shocked.
Werewolf bite?
Rainbow asked, interested.
And here I thought Pony Night was supposed to be nice and calm,
Arya said with a smirk, arms folded in a smug poster.
Well, just because things are more peaceful there than they are here doesn't mean it's a cakewalk by any means,
Raspberry insisted.
We still get our share of weirdness and problems, which is why I'm lucky to have my magic.
She sighed wistfully as she called a yellow magic spear to her hand.
Although,
let me guess, Sunset ventured. You've gotten used to the utility of human magic?
That obvious?
Only to someone with your affliction, Ras. As Raspberry looked at her oddly, Sunset said, Look, the magic is going to eventually have to go somewhere. It's the law of thermophysics at work. We can't allow it to go back to define right somehow, or worse, someone with similar magical imprint. Now it does make them much stronger. So the only choice we have is to bind it to you.
Can you do that?
The Unicorn asked. Yeah, but if I do, you'll only be able to use it when you're in your human form. And obviously you won't heal your leg. No will override your sombrag form. It isn't doing that now, so it won't do it afterwards. But it'll give you access to that magic in your human form. Sunset smiled. Think of it as a secret weapon you'll have when the ships are down.
I can live with that.
Sunset cast a spell and embedded it into Raspberry's heart. While you're in Equestria, you'll be able to access your human form with limited time. The magic isn't yours natively, so you won't be able to recharge it as fast. But hopefully give you the edge you need in case of emergency.
Thanks, Sunny. I appreciate that.
Well, I guess we should test the portal, Sunset suggested. She walked over to the candle and jotted down a quick note on the paper, sending it over. Hopefully someone on the other side should be watching for our response. A few seconds later, a response came. Oh, I almost missed this. Your Grace. You don't have to know, but I am proud of you. My name is Moon Dancer, and I am a researcher covering for the princess. Her Highness has recognized me of... Oh, come on, why does he have to write so tiny? Sunset stepped in front of the mirror. Well, time to test it out. Wish me luck. Raspberry looked at Sunset oddly. What? Raz, you may be strong, but I'm an alicorn. If there's any pony who should test it, it's me.
Sunny, please don't!
Twilight rushed over and hugged her sister fiercely.
What if you get stuck and we never see you again?
Sunset hugged her back. What happened, Twilight? I promise it won't. Are you absolutely sure? Luna asked. Well, I know that you've worked everything out from the last time you went, as I recall. You spent a week there, and it was only 5 minutes here. There seems to be some sort of time delay going on, Sunset explained. We need to know how the camera is. You're going to visit Equestria. What? All of them said at once. Sunset nodded. Someday, you're going to want to know about where I'm from, and I'll want that too. Plus, Ari and Sunny probably want to visit Raz too. She looked at the triplets. There's prosecutes we've been cooking up behind my back. Adagio looked at her cousin considerably comfortably. So you know about that, huh? No, but thanks for considering what I suspected. Sunset sighed. That's for Mom to decide, though. Well, I'm not thrilled with it, Sylvan said, eyeing her 3 nieces. I was supposed to keep you 3 safe. But at the same time, if it wasn't for your grandmother, Sonny, there wouldn't be a here to begin with. So I guess there's little choice in the matter. Probably not, Sunset agreed. Give the documentation to Raz, so she can present it to the crown on your behalf. Sunset took a look at the portal, which was starting to turn an angry red. Raz, put up a shield for when I go through.
You got it,
Unicorn replied, while the triplets felt smaller arms from the racks just to be on the safe side. Sunset took a deep breath. Sunset wandered through, screamed in pain as the raw magic burnt her. Came out on the other side, still in her human form, her clothes scorched, and wisps of heat coming off of her as the air warped in the process, but otherwise unscathed. She shivered as the sun cold in the air.
Sunny?
She felt further and closer, a warm embrace filled her.
How are you feeling?
Like I just went through sunbathing in Death Valley in the middle of summer, she said woozily.
You guys have a place called Death Valley?
Sunset looked up and saw 2 familiar cyan eyes looking at her with worry. She realized it was he was speaking to. It's just a name, Fluttershy. It's actually a desert that's full of life, I suspect. It's called Death Valley because it's a low desert and everything hibernates until that rare rain or snowstorm. But it does get harder than the Badlands during summer.
Oh, well, that's good, I guess.
The timid Pegasus shuffled her wings slightly in nervousness. Clearly, she still wasn't used to Sunset's human form, or still has apprehension due to the mist.
Well, it's good to see you.
Yeah, but why is it so cold? It's late summer from where I'm from, and the time delay cannot be that bad.
Actually,
Sunset looked up to see Twilight looking at her. It was much harder to break than we expected. Apparently, it was built into the mirror as a failsafe by Star Swirl, though we don't know the reason. The only way to remove it was to place an equally strong spell on it, so it didn't end up like Sombra's mirror. As a result, there's going to be a permanent time delay. But on the bright side, the new spell will return you back to your world only a second after you left. The Alicorn gave a wan smile. It was probably one of the most complex spells I ever had to assemble, and Luna helped a lot. How bad are we talking? Sunset asked, until she noticed that Twilight was wearing a scarf. Winter?
It's the 17th day of midwinter. 1237 Anno Anacornis,
Twilight told her.
5 months after we last heard from you, and 8 months since Raz got teleported over. How's she doing? Everybody's been worried about her.
She's doing fine. She's not happy about being stuck in my world, but... Sunset shrugged, while her mind swam. 8 months. Raz is not going to be happy about that.
Fluttershy, do you mind giving us some privacy?
Twilight asked her friend. I need to speak to Sunset alone for a moment.
Of course,
the Pegasus said sweetly.
before heading out of the room while Sunset repaired her clothing, then changed something a bit warmer. Sorry about that. I hadn't thought about having the room heated. Still trying to figure things out about my castle, Twilight said. You have a castle now, huh? Sunset asked her. Well, I understand it. You have legs now, so we're even. The other Alicorn said with a grin. Dizzy added, You know, your mother asked me to let her know as soon as you arrived in Equestria. I figured as much, but not right now, Sunset told her. Not that I don't want to see her. I have so much to say to her. But we need to get Raz back home, and we can't have this time delay and messing with things. Plus, the raw interdimensional forces were enough to cook me and make me hurt. I'm not even sure she's going to be able to survive that. Yeah, that is a problem, Twilight said. Sure, we can figure something out, but that's going to take extra time we don't have. Especially now that you're here, time still moves on. Well, maybe if I could do some quick calculations for me, I might be able to fix it. Twilight raised an eyebrow. Sunset folded her arms, smug as he could be.